Hi guys, Miss Julie here. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about why victims don't necessarily leave their traffickers when and if they get a chance to. And this is something that used to be called Stockholm Syndrome, but since that time it's now called trauma bonding. In order to understand this, what you have to know is there is a lot of recruiting and grooming that leads up to the exploitation. So we get a lot of brainwashing, is the best way to put it. And we also know that when you're dealing with a significant trauma and significant beatings and a lot of force and sometimes torture even, but then there's mercy shown, that creates a glimmer of hope in somebody, and they actually begin to feel bonded and grateful to their captor. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today, because there was a study done by a sociologist named Albert Biederman. Now, Biederman was really interested in how, after the Korean War, why the prisoners of war, first of all, didn't band together and take over their captors, because there were more POWs than there were captors. And then on top of that, how did these captors get these prisoners of war to do crazy things that we just didn't really see other places, right? And so what they started to realize was there were methods, very methodical steps and stages to all of this. And so what we saw was isolating, removing the prisoners of war from their buddies and their friends, putting them in isolation. We are human beings meant to interact. So we know that isolating somebody for long periods of time is psychologically very damaging. We know this. Isolation is not good. We tell anybody with depression, make sure you're not isolating. There's all kinds of levels and places that our minds can go when we are severely isolated from others. And then from there, you add in things like torture, you add in things like beatings. There's so much pressure put on you to have to perform at a certain level, but you realize you're never going to make this person happy. You can't attain what they're asking you to do because it's unrealistic. There is no way to make this person happy, and this is more just being used as a power of control kind of thing. Like, I'm going to exert my power over you, and that's that. And so as we started looking at this list in Biederman's chart of coercion, you get down to one of the final pieces, and that's called indulgences. Now, what an indulgence is, this is where hope becomes a thing. This is where you get those glimmers of things might change. Maybe it's not as bad as what I think it is. And so what you see here is people becoming grateful to their captors because maybe the beating the night before was so severe to the point of death, but they spared your life. So now you're grateful to this person because they're actually saving your life, right? And you become, it's a very twisted psychological form of warfare. It just is. But what happens to victims is they become grateful to their captors. And not only grateful, but they are willing to do whatever the captor tells them to do. And so what we noticed with these prisoners of war and these military tactics, what we know is human traffickers use these exact same tactics on vulnerable victims and very young people. So of course these tactics work, right? So you're going to get victims that are more terrified of outsiders than they are of their captors. And so that's why you don't see escape. You don't see people leaving. It's very much like a prison without walls. And you have to understand the psychological trauma that goes along with that. And most young, naive people out there have no idea that these were actually military tactics designed to be used on POWs. And so it's pretty, I think, telling. You know, when people ask, why doesn't a victim leave? You get a lot of this overlap with domestic violence as well. You know, if somebody was 100% evil to you all of the time, of course you're going to leave. If the very first date you get punched in the face, you're never going to see the person again, right? So it's this slow, insidious process. Let me be very kind to you. Let me, you know, fake my way through this and make you believe I'm this amazing person. And then when somebody's hooked, once they feel like they're in love, then all of these other aspects come out, and the hittings and things like this. But then there's the roses, there's the jewelry, there's the nice dinners, there's the I'm sorries, I should have never hit you that bad, I'm going to change. Well, now your victim has hope that things don't have to be this way forever, and that maybe you really did do something wrong to deserve that. You know, this is the kind of psychological things that go on in somebody's mind. So that's why it's very, very difficult to go in and just pull somebody out of a situation. They have to be ready to go. They have to somehow understand that what is happening is not going to stop. And so that's where we come in as social workers and therapists. And while we're working with, you know, victims, we really make sure that people understand and know about trauma bonding and what that looks like, and why, you know, this pull to go back to this person that is literally beating the life out of you. Thanks for watching.